Have you ever had a thought show up and immediately felt like you needed to argue with it? Maybe the thought said something is wrong, you're falling behind, or you'll not be able to handle what comes next. Today we'll explore what it can mean to take every thought captive without fighting against yourself. Then I'll guide you through a Christian meditation to help you notice your thoughts, bring them honestly before God, and return to what is true. Do you ever long for a quiet moment to just breathe, reconnect with God, and rest in His presence? I'm Lori, and this podcast offers simple, faith-based practices of prayer, meditation, and gentle movement to calm and renew your mind, refresh your spirit, and strengthen your faith. I invite you to take a slow, deep breath, and let's begin. Have you ever had a thought show up in your mind and immediately felt like you needed to argue with it? Maybe the thought said, something is going to go wrong. I'm not handling this well. They're probably upset with me. I should be further along by now. I'll never be able to change. And before you know it, you're caught in a full conversation inside your head. You try to reason with the thought. You tell yourself to stop thinking about it. You search for evidence that it's not true. But somehow the harder you try to push it away, the more attention it seems to demand. I know how easy it is to get pulled into that struggle. Sometimes a thought arrives, and within seconds, I'm following it into the future, imagining possible outcomes, preparing explanations, or trying to solve a problem that has not actually happened. It can feel as though every thought requires an answer, but not every thought deserves that much authority or attention, and not every thought needs to become a battle. 2 Corinthians 10:5 speaks about taking every thought captive and making it obedient to Christ. Sometimes we hear that verse and imagine we should be able to control every thought that enters our minds. Then, when an unwanted, anxious, critical, or distracting thought appears, we may feel as though we've failed. But thoughts often arrive automatically. Your brain produces thoughts all day long. Some are helpful, some are practical, some are old habits, and some are connected to fear, stress, memories, or uncertainty. Some are simply mental noise. The practice is not preventing every difficult thought from appearing. The practice is learning that you do not have to automatically follow it. You don't have to believe it, and you don't have to let it lead you. Today we're going to talk about what it can mean to take a thought captive without fighting against yourself. Then I'll guide you through a meditation to help you notice your thoughts, bring them honestly before God, and return your attention to what is true. You don't have to empty your mind or win an argument with every anxious thought. We're just going to practice a gentle kind of discernment. Before we begin, please remember that this practice is intended to support relaxation and spiritual reflection. It is not a substitute for medical care, mental health care, diagnosis, or treatment. Please seek appropriate professional support if distressing thoughts are persistent, if they're overwhelming, or if they're interfering with your daily life. Let's begin. Your brain is constantly trying to anticipate what might happen next. It looks for patterns. It remembers past experiences. It notices potential problems. And it tries to protect you by preparing for what could go wrong. This can be useful. It helps you plan, avoid danger, remember responsibilities, and make decisions. But the brain can also become overly protective. When you're tired, stressed, uncertain, or emotionally overwhelmed, your mind may produce more threat-based thoughts. It may assume the worst. It may replay old mistakes, search for signs that something is wrong, or create a sense of urgency around things that do not need to be solved immediately. These thoughts can feel convincing because they're accompanied by real sensations in the body. Your chest may tighten. Your stomach may turn. Your breathing may change. You may feel restless or tense. And because the feeling is real, the thought can begin to feel like a fact. But a real feeling does not always confirm that the story attached to it is true. You can feel afraid without being in immediate danger. You can feel rejected without knowing what someone else is thinking. You can feel behind without actually being outside God's timing. You can feel uncertain without being abandoned. This is where taking a thought captive can become a practice of pausing. Instead of immediately following the thought, you can create a little space around it. You notice, I'm having the thought that something is wrong, or I'm having the thought that I can't handle this, or I'm having the thought that I need an answer right now. That small change in language can help you remember that the thought is something you are noticing. It's not your identity or necessarily a prophecy or instruction from God. It doesn't have to decide what you do next. Trying to force a thought away can sometimes make it more persistent. When you repeatedly tell yourself not to think about something, part of your mind continues checking to see whether the thought is still there. That keeps bringing your attention back to it. So taking a thought captive does not always mean wrestling it to the ground. Sometimes it looks more like noticing the thought, holding it up to the light of truth, and deciding whether it deserves to lead you. You might ask, is this thought true? Is it completely true? Or is it an assumption? Is it helpful right now? Is it leading me toward wisdom, love, courage, and faithfulness? Or is it pulling me into fear, shame, accusation, or urgency? What would change if I brought this thought to God instead of arguing with it by myself? Romans 12:2 speaks about being transformed by the renewing of our minds. Renewal is a process. It's something we practice over time. Old pathways of fear, self-criticism, and worst-case thinking may feel familiar because we've traveled them many times. A familiar thought can arrive quickly, but that does not mean you have to keep walking down the same path. You can notice it and choose another direction. Philippians 4:8 gives us a place to redirect our attention by inviting us to consider what is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and worthy of praise. Of course, we don't want to pretend that painful or difficult things do not exist. Biblical truth does not require denial. It allows us to acknowledge what is hard without letting fear write the whole story. The truth may be that I don't know what will happen, but God is with me now. It also may be that this is difficult, and I can take one step at a time. It could be that I made a mistake, but that mistake is not the whole of who I am. Or I feel overwhelmed, and I'm allowed to ask for help. Or I do not have an answer yet, but that's okay. Taking a thought captive may simply mean refusing to let one fearful thought become the only or the loudest voice in your head. You can bring in truth, compassion, and the wisdom of Scripture, and you can bring in the presence of God. So before we continue with the rest of our day, let's take a few minutes to become firmly planted, to step outside of the argument inside your head, to notice your thoughts without becoming carried away by them, to bring what you're thinking honestly before God, to breathe, to listen, and to return to what is true. I invite you to find a position that feels comfortable and supported. You could sit in a chair with your feet resting on the floor. You could sit on a cushion, or you may choose to lie down. Allow your hands to rest somewhere comfortable. You might close your eyes or soften your gaze, whatever feels best to you. Take a moment to notice the surface beneath you. Feel where your body is being supported. Notice the sounds around you. Notice the temperature of the air against your skin. Let yourself arrive here. I invite you to take a natural breath in and let it go slowly. Again, breathing in and breathing out. You don't have to make your mind quiet before you begin. Let your mind be exactly as it is. Busy, tired, distracted, calm, uncertain. Whatever is here can be noticed. Bring your attention to the feeling of your feet against the floor or whatever they're touching. Or notice where your legs and back are supported. Choose one physical sensation that's easy to recognize. Perhaps pressure, perhaps warmth or weight or contact. Let that sensation become an anchor. Your mind will continue producing thoughts. That's what minds do. When you notice a thought, you don't need to push it away. You might simply say quietly, "There's a thought," and then return to your anchor, the feeling of your feet, the weight of your body, the movement of your breath. Notice the next inhale. Notice the next exhale. No need to perform, no need to force, just notice. We'll use this breath prayer. As you breathe in, renew my mind. As you breathe out, lead me in truth. Inhale, renew my mind. Exhale, lead me in truth. Continue at your own pace, in your own way. Perhaps there is a thought that has been returning often lately. You don't need to search for one, but notice if something comes to mind. Maybe a worry, a judgment about yourself, an assumption about someone else, a prediction about the future, or a memory you keep replaying. Rather than saying, "This is true," just simply name it as a thought. You might say, "I'm having the thought that blank," and silently complete the sentence. "I'm having the thought that I will not be able to handle this. I'm having the thought that I have disappointed someone. I'm having the thought that I should be doing more. I'm having the thought that something bad is going to happen." Use whatever words fit your experience. Notice what changes when you call it a thought rather than a fact. Perhaps nothing changes immediately, that's okay. You're simply creating a little space. Can you notice where this thought seems to affect your body? Maybe your chest, your throat, your belly, your jaw, your shoulders. You don't need to analyze it, just simply notice it. You might take a gentle breath toward that area and release the breath slowly. Imagine holding this thought in an open hand. You're not gripping it. You're also not throwing it away. You're simply looking at it with God beside you. Ask quietly, Lord, what is true here? Don't rush to answer. You can let the question linger. Lord, what is true here? Perhaps the thought contains a real concern that needs your attention. Perhaps there's a conversation you need to have, a boundary you need to set, a task you need to complete, an apology you need to offer, or support you need to seek. Taking a thought captive does not mean ignoring wisdom. It means allowing Christ rather than fear to guide your response. Perhaps the thought is mostly assumption, maybe a prediction, an old accusation, or a familiar pattern of self-criticism. You might ask, do I know this is true? What facts do I actually have? What part of this story am I filling in or making up? Notice without judgment. You're not criticizing your mind for trying to protect you. We're helping it slow down long enough to discern. You might return to the breath prayer. Inhale, renew my mind. Exhale, lead me in truth. Now imagine placing the thought into the hands of Jesus. Remember, you don't have to resolve it before you offer it to Him, and you don't have to make it sound more spiritual. You can bring the thought exactly as it is. Confused, fearful, frustrated, embarrassed, angry, uncertain. You might pray, Jesus, this is the thought I've been carrying. You know where it came from. You know what's true and what is fear. Show me what needs my attention. Help me release what does not. You might even let your hands rest open if that feels comfortable. Notice the support beneath you. Take another slow breath. Now bring to mind one truth that can stand beside the difficult thought, something honest, and something grounded that you can return to. Perhaps God is with me in this moment, or I can take one step at a time, or I do not need every answer today. I'm allowed to pause before responding. A difficult feeling will not last forever. I can ask for help, or God's grace is present even here. Choose one truth that feels steady enough for today. Silently repeat it. Let that thought become another voice in the room. The anxious thought may still be present. You don't need to eliminate it in order to return to truth. Both may be here for a moment. The fear and the reminder of God's presence. The uncertainty and the next faithful step. The self-criticism and the truth of grace. Taking a thought captive may look like choosing which voice will lead you. Return to the feeling of where your body is supported. Notice your feet, your legs, your back, your hands. I invite you to take a slow breath in, renew my mind, and a slow breath out, lead me in truth. Again, inhale, renew my mind. Exhale, lead me in truth. Psalm 139 invites us to ask God to search us, know our hearts, test our anxious thoughts, and lead us in His everlasting way. Remember, you don't have to examine every corner of your mind alone. You can invite God into the process. You might quietly pray, "Search me, God. Know what is happening within me. Show me where fear has become louder than truth. Show me where shame has become louder than grace. Show me where urgency has become louder than wisdom. Lead me in your way." Notice whether there's one small action that would support truth today. Perhaps writing down the concern so you don't have to keep rehearsing it. Perhaps speaking with someone you trust. Perhaps taking a break before making a decision. Maybe completing one practical task, or turning off the news, or stepping away from your phone. Maybe resting, praying, allowing the matter to remain unfinished for now. You don't need to do everything. Just notice the next wise and faithful step. And when there is no action to take right now, you may practice release. You might say, "I've noticed this thought. I've brought it to God. I don't need to worry about solving it right now. Take one deeper breath in and a slow breath out. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your hands rest. Hear this reminder. A thought can be present without being in charge. A feeling can be real without telling the whole story. You can notice fear without letting fear lead you. You can return to truth without fighting yourself. Maybe place one hand over your heart or both hands over your heart or anywhere that feels grounded. Silently say, "This is a thought. God knows the truth. I can choose what leads me." Again, this is a thought. God knows the truth. I can choose what leads me. Let's close in prayer. Lord, thank you that you are not intimidated by our thoughts. You know the fears we repeat, the conversations we replay, and the stories we tell ourselves when we feel uncertain. Help us notice our thoughts without being ruled by them. Give us wisdom to recognize what is true, what needs our attention, and what we can release. When our minds move toward fear, remind us of your presence. When shame becomes loud, remind us of your grace. When we feel pressure to solve everything immediately, teach us to pause and listen. Renew our minds, lead us in truth, and help us choose thoughts and actions that move us toward love, courage, wisdom, and faithfulness. Plant us firmly in who you are and in what you say is true. In Jesus' name, amen. I invite you to take your time before moving on. Notice the support beneath you once more. Gently begin to move fingers and toes. Perhaps you roll the shoulders or take a fuller breath. And as you return to your day, remember, you don't have to believe every thought that enters your mind. You don't have to argue with every fear. You can notice the thought, bring it into the presence of God, and choose what you allow to lead you. Thank you for spending these moments with me today. Until next time, stay rooted, breathe deeply, and remember that God is with you right here. Hey friend, if today's episode brought you peace, would you share it with someone who could use the same? And wherever you're listening or watching, you can follow or subscribe and leave a quick review or comment. It really helps others find this podcast, and it encourages me more than you know. Now let's take a final deep breath and let God's peace settle in. I'll meet you back here soon. Blessings.